Here's your Tustin area homeowners report for condo owners in the 92780 zip code. Here we go. Let's take a look. First, we're going to take a look at some price data. We're going to take a look at some sales data, and then we're going to look at predictions. What's going to happen in the upcoming marketplace in 92780. If you want to see a detailed report for maybe your community, your association, whatever, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to get a report out to you right away. If you like, go ahead and subscribe to the official Rustin in Tustin YouTube channel. So let's jump right in. Let's take a look at some sales data. Okay, so first of all, we're doing a 5-month. We do a 5-month history to just kind of show, see if there's any trends going on. Is there anything significant happening up or down either way, so we can get a good grasp on what to expect in the near future. We're doing 5 months. We're looking at median and average. Guys, I know my mathematician friends are going, why are you doing average? And so you always use median, right? But the problem is, and you'll see, the data set is so small. The data set is so small that it's really hard to get a good reflection of what that median is. That's why we're doing it just more for comparison's sake, so we can kind of see, is there any real big changes one direction or another. So let's jump right into it. June 2021, the median was 495, 475 average, 479, 750, 512, 313 was the average. That's where the averages peaked out at. In August, we're at 490 was the median, so we were up, down, up, and then kind of moving around a little bit here on the average. September was 499 and average was 503, and October, $510,000 was the median, not too shabby, and 509. So right there, so put it right there as far as the average and the median on condos in October. So that is a green arrow. You're going to get a big green arrow up saying that that's in favor of the homeowner for sure. If you're a homeowner, whether you're planning on selling or not, you got to know, gosh, okay, look, things are looking good for people who own condos in the 92780 zip code. Let's talk about some additional information here. Sold percentage of list price. Sold percentage of list price basically is how much are people paying more or less than what the original list price is. And it's important to understand these numbers because it helps you understand whether or not good pricing strategies are being implemented by home sellers. So let's take a look. And in June, we were at 100. People were paying 106% of the original list price, 6% over the original asking price in June. Okay, and then July, you're at 102%. In August, you're at 102%, 101.5, and in October, you're at 101%. So I'm calling this a wash. We had a big number up here, but then it's kind of hanging out in the same vein right here. So basically what this tells me is that people are using good pricing strategies to say that, hey, we're putting it at market value and then letting the buyers decide what the what the ultimate sales price is going to be, because a lot of people have the misconception right now that, oh my gosh, I have a $700,000 condo, and boy, I'm going to put it on the market for $900,000. Just see what happens. Yeah, it's never going to sell because it still only has a certain market value. But when you use good pricing strategies, you're going to get a little bit over asking based on what we're seeing right now. So price per square footage sold is a good indicator also of kind of what you can expect as far as the value of your condo as a cost per square footage, assuming it's in really good condition, right? If it's a fixer-upper, if it's outdated, if it needs work, then this may not be the numbers that you're looking at here. But June 438, 436 in July, 440, peaked out at 463 in September, and then in October we're at 445. So again, I'm kind of calling this a wash, even though we jumped up to 465. We're in the 430, 440 range as far as cost per square footage. So you could take that Again, depending on a lot of factors. So many factors go into pricing a home, but you can just kind of look at that and go, you know, based on that and based on my square footage, I could possibly explore the idea of, you know, this particular price range, okay? Again, condition, location, other factors in the area that affect, you know, desirability, that sort of thing. So calling that a wash. So it's not that it's not good for you, it's good because the prices are up. Let's take a look at sales data in 92780. By the way, interesting, in 92780, there's 1,985 condos in the entire 92780 zip code. So when you look at some of these numbers, you're going to go, oh my gosh, these numbers are going to be a little shocking. I think they're shocking to me when I look at stuff like this because I'm in this business. But June 21, we only had 10 listings, 10 out of almost 2,000 properties. Let me put some perspective on that. Way back in the day when I started selling real estate for people in 1997, I think it was, we were trained that what is considered a normal market is that 10% of the entire inventory of residential properties is available for sale at any point in time. So that would mean we'd have to have 198 listings on the market at any point in time. When you're only bringing 10 new listings into the marketplace, that's not accomplishing that at all. We haven't had that for years. I mean, it's been a long time. And then June, we're at 17 new listings that came on the market. July 17. August, we had 24, peaked out at 24. I think I have a good reason for why it did that, because you'll see in September it dropped to 11, and then in October, 9 listings. 9 listings came on the market. Gosh, guys, this is crazy. I'm giving it a big green arrow up for homeowners, because what this means is the inventory is still really low. And the reason I think that we had those peaks, so it kind of jumped up here, 17 and 24, was, if you remember September 14th, what did we have? We had the recall election. So I think a lot of people were kind of waiting around and going, you know, or thinking to themselves, gosh, do we sell now and get out of here because we don't know what's going to happen? Is it going to get crazy if he gets recalled? What's going to happen if he doesn't get recalled? What's going to happen, right? So I think some people were kind of like, we're out of here, and that's why we had the increase in listings there. The recall came and went, and we all know what the result of that was. Let's take a look now at days on market. Good to know, because if there's any kind of trends there that we need to be aware of, then we can definitely apply, you know, different strategies to it. And so if we take a look at June, we were at 18 days on the market. This is for condos in the 92780 zip code. July 16 days, August 16, September 16, and then October 20. I'm kind of calling this a wash because they're all right about the same. But this is a good indicator. A lot of people are under the impression that, hey, all I have to do is stand outside my door and yell, "My house is for sale," and they're going to have, you know, 30 offers in about a minute and a half, and their house is going to be sold instantly. But what this tells us, homes are taking, you know, 2 to 3 weeks before they get a viable offer, because that's what days on market mean. It doesn't mean I got you know, an offer and now 20 days later I'm moving out. What it means is it took 20 days to get a good, viable, reasonable offer that you were willing to accept. And then you go through the escrow process, typically 30 to 45 days, depending on what you negotiate. So 20 days until you get an offer, 2 to 3 weeks before that happens. So just know that. Okay, now this is something that's really interesting. I don't think people in the area are aware of this, but it is so important to understand this. And why is this happening? This thing I don't understand myself as an agent. I'm going, this is crazy when you look at these numbers. So homes that fell out of escrow. So in June, 6 out of the 10 homes that came on that were newly listed, they had offers that they had accepted, their first offer. Their first offer, 60% of them fell out of escrow. 60%. There's a lot of good reasons why homes fall out of escrow. Sometimes it has to do with the buyer not being able to get their financing. My God, if 60% of the people are not getting their financing, that's a whole other world of hurt that we don't even want to hopefully go down. But a lot of other times what it has to do with, it has to do with inspections. So if somebody says, yes, we'll take it, we're desperate, we want a house, and then they get into the inspections and they start going, oh my gosh, this is wrong and that's wrong and this needs to be fixed and this hasn't been done and this is way outdated and this, whatever. And then they present that back to the seller and say, for the price that you're asking, boy, we want to have these things repaired, which is reasonable, I think. And sellers are kind of standing their ground saying, no, we're not gonna do it. Take it as is or hit the ground, because sellers know that in this current market that they probably have some backup offers already waiting for it. But what that means is you go through that escrow process, you get excited, and you go, oh man, what a bummer. You're already starting packing, but now you got to let some other people walk through the house. So it gets a little frustrating. So there's ways to avoid all this. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'll happy to chat with you about it. So 60% fell out, and then in July 58%, in August 46%, and then in October 22%. So this number is going down, but I still have to say that this is not in favor of the homeowner because it just creates a lot of frustration and anxiety and things like that. And I got to tell you something. I've been doing this since 1997. If 22% of the homes that I listed accepted an offer and then fell out of escrow, I wouldn't be in this business anymore. So I'm questioning how in the heck is this happening where we got 60, 58, 46% of the new homes listed that are accepting an offer falling out of escrow when it's totally avoidable. Like I said, just give me a call if you want to have a conversation about that. Closed sales. So with closed sales, here's what we've got. In June, we got 6 closed sales. In July, we've got 8 closed sales. In August, 14, September 12, and then 25 in October. So we got to jump a lot of closed sales in October. And this is in favor of the homeowner. Again, as long as there's more homes selling than there are coming on the market, then it's in your favor because it keeps that demand high and the supply low. Okay, so that's exactly what's happening here. And then months supply. What does months supply mean? Months supply means if we stopped listing any properties in 92780, we didn't list another property going forward, how long would it take to sell the current inventory of homes that are available for condos in 92780? It would take, in June, it would take 0.9 months. 0.9 months is roughly about 27 days, okay, just to give you an idea. July would take a month, and almost 2 months in October to get it sold. Again, because we had that little bump in new listings, so it probably created a little bit of lag time for homes to get sold. September, 1 month, and October, 0.8 months. So in about 24 days, all homes available, all condos available in 92780, sold, gone, done, and no more. So what that means is, again, it's just another indicator of how low the inventory is. So we're definitely low on the month's supply. Housing market predictions for 92780. So normally, I would call this a green flag. I would say, man, everything looks amazing and it's great and everything's all good. However, hold on, you're going to enjoy these predictions I'm about to give you, but what I'm about to tell you is even better. Everybody knows that when you're selling a house in tip-top condition, you're always going to get a much higher sales price and more profit. But did you also know that there is a way to do all the repairs and rehab, no matter how big or small, with no upfront cost? Let me show you how. It's important to understand that most buyers, when they buy a house, they're buying at the top of their available price range. And so if the median home sale price in Orange County, we'll call it $1 million. We know it's higher than that, but we'll call it, if the median is $1 million, and your house is in disrepair, what will end up happening is that at least 2/3 of those buyers, if these were all the buyers in Orange County, would go away. They would disappear. And so now this is all the buyers that you're left with, because most buyers, like I said, buy at the top of their price range, and that usually means that they don't have an extra $50,000 or $150,000 laying around to completely rehab a house that they just bought, that now they're going to have to wait weeks or even longer to get into the house, and increasing their expenses even further. And even if they did have that money, they probably want to spend it on furniture and decor for their new home to make it their own, right? And of the ones who would still consider a house that's in disrepair or a fixer-up or something like that, you could even take away a good part of those, because what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to go, you know what, we're probably just going to pass on this one because, same reason. The money that's going to come out of their pocket afterwards, unless they're getting a really, really, really good deal. And so then what's left is you have investors. You have investor buyers, or people who are looking to take your house at a really low price, who are willing to do all those repairs after the fact. And as a result, you have fewer buyers interested in your house, who are going to get you a whole lot less money and less profit in your pocket, and you're going to walk away disappointed. But you can have all these repairs done, and have it done with no upfront cost whatsoever, and get you a whole lot more profit. This is an actual real world case study. These are both real houses. They just so happen to be right next door to each other. They both came on the market at exactly the same time, and they both featured similar qualities, so they were very comparable. House A was asking $1,180,000, which they reduced from $1,225,000. House B was asking $1,525,000, which they increased from $1,475,000. House A was not rehabbed at all. It was in good shape and it was well maintained, but it was very outdated. House B was fully rehabbed. House A took 35 days to sell. House B took 2 days to sell. House A sold at $424.16 per square foot. House B sold at $533.96 per square foot. House A had 5 bedrooms and a 3-car garage. House B only had a 4 bedrooms and 2-car garage. House A was even offering more commission to the agent than House B. Now, if we just make some assumptions about the loan balance of being 0 on each one, so we can just get a same net proceeds, and the rehab cost on House A was 0 because they did no rehab. House B, they spent about $150,000. House A, the closing costs estimate is about 1% for Orange County. Same thing with House B. So their closing costs would have been about $11,800, which is less than House B. House A, if they listed with us, would be 1% on the listing side, or $11,800. House B, the listing side, would have been about $15,250. House A, if they're paying a 2.5% buyer side, it'd be $29,500. House B, if they were paying a 2.5% buyer side, which we know they only paid 2%, but if they were paying 2.5%, would have been $38,125, so much more than House A. Yet the proceeds on House A were $1,126,900. Yet the proceeds on House B was $1,306,375. for a difference of $179,475. With the 0 upfront cost to rehab your house, there are no hidden fees, there's no interest, there's no income required, and there's no credit checks. So the evidence is clear that rehabbing your house before you sell it will put more money in your pocket. So if you'd like to get a free, no pressure, no obligation walkthrough of your house, where I can tell you how much more profit you would make when you sell your house by doing certain repairs with no upfront cost, then just call the number that's on the screen or visit the link that's on the page and put in your information, and I will be happy to come and visit with you and just hang out and just share with you what I can. Let's get back to the predictions. Housing market predictions for 92780. So normally I would call this a green flag. I would say, man, everything looks amazing and it's great and everything's all good. However, I'm going to call this one a yellow flag alert. I'm going to give this one a yellow flag alert. And it's not because of the data we just looked at. The data we looked at is actually really good. And a lot of it's in favor of the homeowner, but it's more because of some information that recently came available that, to me as an agent, doing this as long as I have, it really threw up a red flag for me, and I'll go over that in just a second. But just to recap, negatives, very slight increase, little bit, days on market, decrease in overbids. Fewer people are overbidding less. And then the abnormal number of homes that fell out of escrow, that is just insanity to me. Some of the positives that we've got here, the median average sales price is up. Good, that's good. So that's up. Cost per square footage up. The new listings, low. That means low competition. Month supply, low inventory. Closed sales, it's clearing out the competition. Okay, so as long as those are selling and they're exceeding the new listings coming into the marketplace, now we're talking about low competition. So everything's good there. So here's some of the things that kind of raise a few little red flags. Now this one's really, really nominal, but it's important to note because Mortgage Bankers Association, very reputable organization, they put out a report. It was about I think the third week of October, that said that they expect that rates will be at 4.0% for a 30-year fix by the end of 2022. Okay, now we're talking about a whole year from now. But no, they said by the end of 2022. They didn't say when in 2022. So we don't know. But it's important to stay on top of rates and what rates are doing, because if we see any significant increase in rates, when rates go up only 1%, that eliminates about $60,000 of affordability for the typical buyer. So you've got that home, let's say you've got a $600,000 condo, that buyer who was looking at your house, now rates jump up 1%. Now they can only afford a $540,000 condo. Okay, and now that person who was looking at the 640, 650 condos and the rates jump up 1%, they now have to come down and settle for your condo, sorry. But they were looking at something a little bit more upgraded, but because of affordability, now they have to downgrade. And the problem with this is now a lot of people, what they do is once they start looking at certain homes, if they have to go back down the scale, what they'll do a lot of times is they'll go, well, that's not what we wanted. And buyers start pulling themselves out of the buyer pool for a while to see if the market changes and other opportunities open up later down the road. So we'll just keep an eye on rates coming up in the next year. It's important to do. Okay, so now the one that throws up the big red flag for me is these next two articles. This one says, tough day as Zillow announces 25% of the workforce will be laid off as their home buying business will end. This is a big deal. In my opinion, this throws up a huge red flag. This just came out November 1st. And the reason that this is a big red flag is because you got to understand what Zillow's business model is. Zillow, they are two things. Number one, they buy houses, right? That's what they do. They will buy your house. They'll buy it for 70, 60 cents on the dollar. They'll refresh it, put paint, new flooring, whatever, clean it up, and turn around and put it back on the market and make a significant profit on that property. And also they are probably the world's largest data aggregator in the real estate space. So if somebody like Zillow, if a company like Zillow is saying we are shutting down our home buying business because of profitability, well, if it was going to be profitable, if they could still sell those houses at a profit, why would they shut it down? It doesn't make sense. This article, Zillow seeks to sell 7,000 homes after their flipping halt. So they're shutting down this entire division of their business, and they got people crunching numbers like crazy. You got to understand, they have a whole lot more data than anybody else does. And so if they're looking at the data and they're saying, boy, it's not going to be profitable to sell these houses, because why would you get rid of 7,000 houses and just dump them? Because if you read between the lines on this article, that's basically what it says. They're getting rid of them, and they're probably going to be selling them off to other investors who are going to buy them. Zillow will make, a few dollars on it, but basically get it off their books, because what are they anticipating? What do they see coming up in the future that we don't know about? I don't know, okay? But it is something definitely to keep an eye on. But when a company like this does something this big, you can't convince me just based on poor Q3 earnings report, because, they've been in business for a long time. They've had plenty of poor, quarterly earning reports, okay? So really something to take into consideration. Also, here's another factor too. When other people start reading articles like this, they start looking at these things and they say, oh my gosh, is the sky falling? And so now people start putting their houses on the market in a panic sell. Okay, not necessarily a good idea. But if Zillow puts 7,000 homes into the marketplace right away, that could change things. Now, because take a look. I mean, we had, what was it, 10 listings or something like that in October. If you take a look at that number, and all they do is put 5, maybe they own 5 condos in the 92780 area. They've just increased the inventory by 50%. Granted, it goes from 10 to 15. Not that big of a jump, but it still is increasing that inventory. And do other people start to see that and see that as a trend and go, oh my gosh, now we've got to start selling, and things start changing and their rates go up. You see how this could all play into it. So what does Zillow know that we don't know yet? We're going to find out coming up soon. Also, you got articles like this every single day, every day. I'm seeing articles that say, should you prepare for a housing market crash in 2021? So the media is priming people to think, my gosh, is the market going to crash? So we really need to pay attention to this too, how people are starting to react to things like this. This was the best article that I've read, the best title, I should say, that I've read, not the article itself. I love this. This is great the way they put it. No one seems worried about a housing bubble, just like the last time the bubble burst. Okay, and it's true. The last time the bubble burst, 2007, right? We had people up to the last day were saying, this is never going to end. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, prices are going to continue to skyrocket, go through the roof, whatever. But what happened? A lot of people lost their shirts, right? Because they put the blinders on and it's, oh my gosh, it's never going to end. Well, again, articles like this, they create people to start thinking. And then finally, we still don't know what the effects of the foreclosure and eviction moratoria coming to an end, what those are going to be. You're going to have, the state says that they're going to help renters and landlords catch up on back payments and back mortgage payments. But as of yet, I haven't seen it. If you've seen it, let me know. I have not seen anybody who actually got that rent caught up, or those owners of those properties get their mortgage caught up. So, what's going to happen? Because if those properties don't catch up and they start becoming foreclosed on, then now what? Right now, more inventory. Same thing with the mortgage for the foreclosures. A lot of people did forbearances, a lot of them. And so when a lot of people did those forbearances, the bank probably tried to work out something with them. There's an organization called the CFPB, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. And they are the long arm of the law in the finance space. They put out a notice, and I want to say it was something like June or July or something like that, to the banks that says, you better work out deals with the consumer, to avoid this whole big foreclosure mess that's looming on the market, because they know there was something like 1.2 million properties that were still in foreclosure as of even recently. I mean, not in foreclosure, in forbearance. So they're offering loan modifications and different workout programs and things like that. But in the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people who regardless of what offer they're given to work it out, they're just not going to be able to make that payment. And so it's going to end up in a foreclosure. If they're smart, they sell now while they have the equity and not hold on and go, oh my gosh, let's just hide our head in the sand. Whole different video. Okay. We just don't know what those effects are going to be yet. The foreclosure process takes a minimum, in California, minimum of 121 days. So 4 months basically, right? Minimum. Now they could extend that out. What's really interesting with that warning from the CFPB is that I think what lenders are doing now, unlike 2007, 2008 and on, where the banks were just like going foreclosure, 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 just throwing them down. The lenders now, to avoid these huge fines, are looking at each other going, are you doing any foreclosures? Well, we're just doing a few. Okay, well, we'll do a few. And that, you know, nobody wants to stick their head up out of the dirt and go, hey, chop my head off, because CFPB will say you didn't do enough to, you know, help these people. And so what I think is going to happen is those lenders are going to start to creep up as far as the number of foreclosures that they're going to do, and they start seeing each other do it, and they're like, okay, we're all in this together. Okay, so nobody gets, you know, hit really hard by the CFPB. So we'll see. We just don't know what's going to happen. But in the end of the day, you know, right now the market actually looks really good for the homeowner. If you're a homeowner and you're thinking about selling, right now is a really good time to still, you know, sell a property if you're thinking about selling. If not, you know, just know that, you know, we're pretty solid. Now, what the future will hold, we never can tell. Nobody ever knows what the actual market is really going to do coming up in the future. And I always tell people that there's only one way to know when we're at the actual peak and one way to know when we're at the actual bottom, and that is only 6 months after we've passed it. Okay, use this data, take it, and hopefully it is helpful to you in some way, just at least so you know. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help out, answer any questions about anything in the Tustin area. Love to help out with people buying, selling, and all that good stuff. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.